Welcome back, Rankers. It's that time of year again. Well, it's always that time of year again, actually. But specifically, it's that time of year again for the Smart Company Web Awards. And I've been judging the last 3 years, I think, 4 years maybe, on the search panel and the search results. And who does best in search. I'm not going to tell you the winners here because you can go to the site and find that out yourself and get the page impression. But I love doing this because you get to see what other businesses are doing. You get to find out some great practices of not only search, but just, best blog and all sorts of things, all sorts of categories there you can go and have a look at. So, really good initiative from Smart Company. And Smart Company, by the way, smartcompany.com.au is one of Australia's leading business news sites. So I highly recommend you to get on board and follow that up. This year we had quite a number of entries, and they were all really strong. And so I thought this year I'm going to do an actual scorecard. I want to actually rank the sites based on certain criteria and certain points. And I didn't hand this off to anyone else. I tried, but no one wanted to do it. So what I did is I put together a little score sheet for me. And I said, all right, what's important here? And I went through, and I think it's helpful for you to understand. You can see here the final score. We've got 694 to 661. So the runner-up was really close. And this is the one thing that lost it for them here. And I'll explain what that is in a second. So basically the link structure was, I was looking at how crawlable is the site. Now you can see here for the winner, they had more bad links inside the site than the runner-up did. So these are all possible scores out of 100, by the way. So the entire possible score is actually 1,300, and I'm tough. That's all I'm saying. So what happened here? This particular site, they had 33,000 in the index pages, and they only had 11,000 in their sitemap. So obviously a big site, 11,000 pages in your sitemap, but you've got 3 times as many pages being indexed. These guys, though, they had 5 times as many pages indexed as what was in the sitemap. So that's why I ranked them lower. So the bigger the discrepancy between your sitemap and what's in the index, the bigger the problem. Either you're not telling Google everything there is to know in Google Webmaster Tools, or Google's crawling the site in a way that you don't want it to. So, for instance, go into your Webmaster Tools and have a look at your Google Index under Index Status, and you can see there it'll give you a number. So for us it's 693. We've just launched a new site, and I'll talk to you about that next week. But in our sitemap, we've uploaded a new sitemap, obviously, because new site. And we've got 664. Now, I'm happy with that because I've got 664 on the sitemap, but I have got 694 in the index, 664 on the sitemap. So there's a discrepancy there of 30 pages. I know what those 30 pages are. They're ones that we're not republishing. So for us, that's good. The thing here is that we've just launched a new one. We've only got 15 that have been crawled. If your sitemap's been up for a while and you see that big discrepancy, that's an issue. If it's only been up for a week or a couple of days, ask 24 hours, not a big issue just yet. So, if I go and have a look at both of these sites, though, 5 times as many pages in the index as to what's in the sitemap is a problem. So go and check those things in Google Webmaster Tools. So they both got sort of downgraded for that. If they had been exact matches, they both would have got 100 points, but they weren't. The titles, yeah, they were both really good with their titles, really descriptive. The best score I gave was about 75. Most of them, they could have been improved a little bit, like, a little bit more better focus on the keywords. Search engine friendly URLs, it was really even here. They both had the title and the search engine friendly URL as a match. H1s, they both did really well. H2s, now this was a big discrepancy. What the winner did was that their H1 on the page was great. It targeted, matched the page title, matched the search engine friendly URL. And then they had H2s that contained some of those keywords that were already in the H1. This other site, the H2s, just they weren't optimized at all. Metas, meta descriptions, this is specifically. So basically, the actual winner site had a lot of duplication, which is why I marked them down. These guys were all unique, which was great. I marked these guys down, the winners down, for backlinks, because I found some backlinks in there that were artificial. The runner-up, once again, they did much better. HTTPS, the winning site had some HTTPS. If it had been across the whole site, it would have been 100 points for that category. The other site had none. So as a percentage, if they did get 100, you might say, oh, that's artificial in itself, Jim, because HTTPS doesn't have that much impact yet. It has some impact. As it is, 10 points, not a deal breaker, right? Mobile, the runner-up was better in mobile, but the speed of the runner, they had a lot of work to do on the speed. They weren't compressing images. I don't think they were caching images. The winner site, it was fast. It was really quick. It was on, I think it was doing Amazon cloud hosting and a few other things, but it was fast. It was great. The killer, though, and you can see here, it's this 40 points. It's the killer, right? And you might say, oh, you've just done that because you wanted this other one to win. No, not at all. The reason that the runner-up lost 40 points here, and I did this before I added up the totals, was because the entire site was duplicated at a subdomain, like the one I showed you last week, right? So when you've got your entire site that Google's crawling at a subdomain, that's really going to hurt you because you've duplicated your entire site. And you've got this linking happening between, and as I showed you last week, the canonical tagging that some people do in this situation doesn't really cut it. Like BigCommerce, right? They're a big e-commerce site. So if you go site:/mybigcommerce.com, you will find all of their clients' sites pretty much duplicated at a subdomain, right? So I think I've shown you this before. And if you're on BigCommerce, your site's been indexed at a subdomain. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's okay because BigCommerce puts canonical tags in there to say, oh, Google, this isn't the actual site. The actual site's over here. Well, as I showed you last week, that doesn't always work. It may work sometimes, but it doesn't always work. So that's what you have to be really careful of. If you've got, people think canonical works because I've got my site here at staging, and I'll say, oh, but by the way, Google, the real site's over here at www. Well, you're using the canonical tags across the domains, which doesn't, in our experience, work that well. So that was the big difference that pretty much could have won it for them, and I just went, nah, you can't have your whole site duplicated at a subdomain and expect to do well in search. Now, I've got no idea between the two sites, the runner-up and the winner, which one's getting the better traffic from Google. I'm guessing it's the winner because they're faster and they're also, they've got a bigger site. So that's what's going to happen. The runner-up had about 1,000 pages, but 5,000 duplicated. So, you know, a lot of work to do for them, but it can be fixed really quickly. If they fix up that one thing, they would probably see a massive jump in their traffic within about 6 weeks. The one I was working on last week, the Pro Blogger site, I was looking at that again today, and Google still hasn't crawled a couple of things, still hasn't picked up a couple of the changes that were made, so we're still waiting for that to happen. But I thought you'd be interested into the sorts of things that we're looking at to say, oh, these are the things that were important to us. So, I mean, mobile, not strictly a ranking criteria, but certainly something that's really important. So I wanted to throw it in there because it will be a ranking criteria in the future with Google mobile search, definitely. And speed was the big one, though. So speed really, and the major issue lost of form. That is it for this week's show. Get across to smartcompany.com.au and check out all the other winners. And we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.